Hello, can you guys see me? It's like not working for me. I can only see it. Okay, cool. Can you hear me okay? Because I got a new microphone. It's really pretty. It's teal. I had to get the teal one. And this is my first time really using it. So I have to like work with the thing. So just let me know how it sounds, please, because that drives me crazy when it doesn't sound good. Okay, great. Got my coffee, just settling in. I actually slept pretty late today, thank goodness. So I barely got myself together. I think this is like exactly how my hair came out of bed and I got lucky. You know, you get lucky sometimes. Okay, wonderful. Thank you guys. I don't have a set thing to talk about for this. Hello. For this stream. I basically wanted to test out my new microphone for the most part, you know, like make sure that I have this setting up appropriately. The last couple times I did streaming, thank you. I am pretty happy. I got to sleep a lot. I was using my phone and the microphone that came with, you know, that's attached to the headphones that I was using, so it didn't sound good, and I didn't like using my phone, even though the phone, I think, camera looks better than the one that's in my ancient laptop. I still wanted to get this set up, and after I master, hopefully, the audio for this, I'd love to get an adapter of sorts that I can stream through like a professional camera, like a real camera, and not my like ancient MacBook's little camera here. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is you have to forgive me. I'm not all there yet. I would love to use live stream much more frequently. In fact, you know, I don't want to make any promises, but it would be so fun for me to do on a weekly basis. Hello guys, hello. So or you know, like often, like on a schedule. But for this one, since it's like it's the very end of the year, oh my God, I just can't believe it. This year just flew by and it was so crazy. It was such a crazy year. Anyway, what I wanted to talk to you guys about first was the Reiki session that I have planned, that it's going to be released tomorrow. It's something that I talked about on Instagram. If you guys are on Instagram, I stopped using Snapchat because like Instagram has stories and it makes no sense for me to do a story on two different things, and I do use like Instagram more anyway, you know. I think that it's just easier for me to use, so I'm not really on Snapchat. I mostly use Instagram for stories. Like if you follow me on there, you'll see like I don't really post like too much, but I'll go ham on the stories. Like I'll go like way too long on the stories. So hello, happy new year. Thank you guys so much. I'm glad you guys have coffee too. I have some good coffee here. I've been like taking it a little more seriously, my coffee making skills. So anyway, the Reiki session that I have planned, basically, like I said, I mentioned this a little in Instagram, but we are coming out of a 1 year. So this is going to tie a little into numerology. I'm not super professional, like numerologist. I'm not super professional in anything, you know, like I hate to say like talk to you guys about astrology and come off like I know everything. Like I certainly don't. I never want to give the impression that I think I know everything, you know. That's certainly not ever what I want to come across as. However, I love to study this stuff, so it's certainly something that I have some knowledge on, right? And we're coming out of a 1 year, so when you add up, hello, ooh, eggnog flavored coffee, that sounds good. When we're in a 1 year, you may have seen, everyone's different, but you may have seen a lot of the properties of isolation, of you, of yourself, of your free will, of getting in touch with yourself. You may have seen before the year started or earlier in the year that maybe a relationship ended, maybe a friendship ended, maybe you needed to change jobs, maybe something you may have done it on your own, of your own accord, but something may have fallen out of the bottom as well, like that made you have to change, have to be on your own, have to do things on your own. And that's not to say you probably didn't have any type of support system, but this 1 year kind of forced us to get in touch with ourselves, really look at ourselves. And, I don't want to say be isolated, but certain people could have certainly experienced like isolation of sorts or things along the lines of that. So, hello, hi guys, sorry. I want to say hi to everyone, but I'm also like, I get distracted super easy if you don't know that about me already. So, the 1 year, everything has good and bad. Everything has the upswing and the downswing. So while there's a lot of beauty in self-discovery and doing things yourself and starting out on your own maybe, or doing things more just for you and getting in touch with your personal needs, there's also that downside to it, which is, again, like being isolated, being cut off, maybe feeling at times like you had to do it on your own, quote unquote. So now that we're entering a 2 year, this is more of a year of partnerships, I would say. 2 is, 2, like joining together. This could be relationships in a romantic sense, but it could also be just like any kind of partnership. Like for me, I'm looking to actually work with more people and expand. Like I feel like I really grew a lot over this year, and I did my own thing and I worked for myself, and now I'm looking to connect with other people who kind of do the same thing as me but have something else to offer. So you can look at it that way too. You could look at it as finding a different group of friends or a bigger group of friends or anything along the lines of that. So it's pretty cool. Like, that's awesome. There's more growth there. Whatever you are like connecting with another person, you should be really connecting with yourself more. Like you kind of mirror each other, you provide these experiences so that there's like growth of some kind or some realization or something really cool like that. So the downside to that is that, and this is what my Reiki session is going to be focused on tomorrow, for the 2018. I wanted to do like a good theme for 2018. And the downside would be that sometimes in a relationship, in a partnership, in a union of any kind, or new friendships, new romantic interests, we tend to lose ourselves. We've all done it, and this is something that, we do mostly like when our teenage years, but you know what, my dad is in his 60s and he does it when he gets in a new relationship too. I see it where he like loses himself a little. So it's not that that's a bad thing, it's kind of natural, but when that happens, we're not being completely authentic and we're not bringing to the table what we truly have to offer. I'll give you like a good example, which is when you, let me try to put this into words. So I'll use my dad because he's fresh in my mind right now. He met this like newer, he's got like a new love interest or something, right? She seems pretty cool. I haven't met her yet. And he's just going on about all these things that she does, all these skills, all these like things that she's into. And I'm like, okay, cool. So like, but like, what are you bringing? Like what, like, so he's like trying to learn almost like what she's into. And I'm like, Dad, like that's sweet. Like, I'm sure that she appreciates that, but you need to maintain your identity. Like that's really what it comes into. Like we have to maintain our own identity because we bring something. When we lose ourselves or we become too interested in what other people are doing, and I'm saying this from a romantic perspective, but this could be anything. This could be a new job. This could be just any type of like, rapport or dynamic between you and anything outside of yourself. You want to just make sure that you're bringing like your authenticity and all of the skills and all of the things that you on your own are interested in and have a skill in, and bring it in and like add to the group, add to the dynamic and stuff. I'll get to you guys questions about the 1112222 kind of thing, because I get this question a lot and it's very valid. So don't think that I'm ignoring you. But anyway, just to wrap it up about this Reiki session, it's going to be, my typical kind of Reiki sessions. I might talk a lot. I can't help myself. It's just how I am. I want to give as much information as possible. Stand your ground is a perfect way to say that. And that's not have to be some combative type thing. It's standing in your truth, in your true identity, and like the real essence of yourself. And that's beautiful. And everyone will benefit when we are true to ourselves. Everyone will benefit, I swear. A lot of times, and I've seen this with many clients recently, when I get waves of clients, they will all have, very commonly, they will all have a common ground of sorts. And the identity has been the thing for them. It's almost like in the past, maybe it served them to blend in, and now it doesn't. Like now their success will come from standing out a little, or being the boss a bit, or, speaking their mind, and, just being more true to themselves that way. So that's what the Reiki session is going to focus on. A lot of integrity, a lot of preserving our mental space, so that we can, not so that we're so that we're deflecting new ideas, or we're deflecting that of other people, but just so that we have a discernment, so thank you. I appreciate that you guys like when I talk. I know I get a lot of people that are like, ew, you talk too much. It's like, well, changes the channel. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so in terms of the questions that you guys have, or the mentionings that you've said about the repetitive numbers and whatnot, or catching a like 1111 all the time, or a 222, there's certain, oops, I just lost myself. Hold on, sorry guys. There's certainly something to be said for, I don't wear the glasses in my videos because they catch the light, and it's like very annoying when you're watching a video and it's like all you see is the reflection of the lights that I have set up around me. So when you see a number that catches your eye, whether it's 1111, 555, there's certainly things that play out. Just like I said, a 1 is a more like the start, the awareness, the individual. 2 is more about groups. 3 is about growth and family. 4 is about stability. 5 is about motion and movement, etc. However, typically when we see things like this, it's meant to bring your attention to something. So when you see these angelic numbers, they call them, or these repetitive numbers, think to yourself, what was I just thinking about? What was I about to do? Was I about to go make a call? Did so-and-so enter my mind? Was I thinking about starting a project? Was I thinking about anything that would benefit myself? They're meant to draw your attention to what you were doing right then. 99% of the time, it really doesn't have anything to do with the 222 or the 444 or whatever. So just think about that. I would say start there, like bring your awareness to whatever is going on right then. It could be an action you were about to take. It could be a thought process, but it's more about bringing you into that moment so that you're more aware of 420. Yeah, think about that. What was I about to do? Oh, right. So those are my things for that. I did have to pick out some books that I was going to show you guys because I didn't know if I was going to have enough to talk about. Okay, here we'll take some questions for now. Why are tarot cards seen as demonic? Well, that's hard to say, People are taught, from different types of religious perspectives or things, fear, people are taught fear and fear of, okay. There are only demons within you. Like, the only demons that exist that you're going to bring about are ones that would be within you, like your shadow side. And you can certainly talk to and communicate with, and this is very general. This has nothing to do with tarot. So please don't confuse that. This isn't in relation to tarot, but you can communicate with things that are outside of you too. Like, let's say a ghost or a spirit. I think of them more as thought forms. That's kind of how I see that type of stuff. But there are ones that maybe are bad, you could say, but they would only be drawn to you if you reflected that in yourself and it was going to be brought out by this thing, or it's like this like attraction there. And people are afraid of themselves. People are afraid of self-discovery. People are afraid of facing their demons and their fears. So I think that that kind of ties into why divination tools of any kind, whether that be pendulums or tarot or anything like that, can be seen as demonic, because people are taught, you know, in different religions, back in the day, especially like more ancient ones, that that's bad, or that witchcraft is bad, or anything like that. But tarot is certainly not bad. There is no good and bad, really. You know, like good and bad will only come from within you and within your intention, just like it would only come from someone else and their ill intention or their good. It's not something that is just out there, like there's bad out there. It's a matter of perspective. There's certainly, don't confuse what I'm saying, there's certainly people who do really horrible things, and I'm not saying that that's a good thing necessarily, but you should look into that for yourself and see like how you feel about something. So that's what I would suggest with like tarot. Sorry, that's not like a clear answer because it's really complicated. Everyone has their own reasoning for why they might see something as demonic. They might see the tarot as being demonic because there is a devil card, but the devil card doesn't necessarily mean like Satan or this like, you know, like spooky man or whatever. It's more about you could call it more like almost like a corporation, like ownership, or not being able to do what you want, being ruled by something, or I can't think of the right word for that. Sorry, it's not coming to me. What is that word? Like being controlled basically, or led by the things in you that are bad. So people kind of see that as bad, but I don't see the devil card that way ever, you know, so. Oh, thank you, Renee. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. I take my inner demons on nature walks with me. It's true. I don't see an evil in your shadow ever. I've come from very dark places in my life, and I have this experience with these very light places. It's all part of my experience. Congrats on buying the Kybalion. It's such a great book. It's such a great one. The tarot corresponds to 72 demons and angels. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you can read into the tarot. I'm sure that might have something to do with it. What is the tattoo on my arm about? It's just a Celtic design that I got when I was like 17 in England when I went to visit my mom, because you can get tattoos when you're younger there. It's just a Celtic design. Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna like backtrack a little. The instrument that I played, this one, I love it. I don't know how to play it yet. I'm just learning. Okay, going back. But pyramid. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through. Well, I just got some books I was actually going to show you guys. I haven't read them yet. I've skimmed through like all of them, and I'll show you them. I always get asked on like book recommendations, and this is also something I talked about on Instagram in my stories, which is, and I'm not criticizing, please, like, no, like, I started on my path at 1.2, so I'm not looking down at all, but I get a very general question, which is like, oh, I'm just starting my spiritual thing, I'm just getting into Reiki, I'm just getting into crystals, do I have any suggestions? Or it's always a very vague question, and I totally get it, because when I started, like, I just wanted more information. Like, I just was like, somebody feed me this information, I need it. And it's too general for me to answer, though. I don't know you, I don't know your background, I don't know what you're interested in. So my suggestion, if that's the case, if you're starting your spiritual path, if you're starting in something, look at yourself, look at your life, find an area that you want to work on. That could be, you know, your childhood, your relationship with your mother or your father or something. And it doesn't have to be where you necessarily work with them. In fact, I did a lot of healing of my own relationship with my mother, and she's been dead for like 6 years. So, you know, you don't necessarily have to work it out with them. You need to heal your cord, your end of the cord with someone. So it could be your finances, it could be your health, it could be your love life, it could be anything at all. Just find something that you want to work on and target that a little bit. If you find, let's say it's like relationships, take a look at your past relationships. What were those like? Where can you find a realistic pinpoint and take responsibility for what has happened, and how can you go forward? That might be working with angels. People sometimes are really into angels, and they might get into like Doreen Virtue, or just, Damon, I don't know his name, I can't think of it, but there's like other angelic authors. Like, find just anything you want to get into. Aromatherapy, like, just start researching that kind of stuff. There's no clear path to get into it. It's just how you choose. It's like branches on a tree. So whatever you choose, color therapy, like, just start looking into that. To be honest, I'd say that the first esoteric-y type practices that I started studying as an adult were body language, handwriting analysis, and things that were much more practical and almost don't even seem like an occult or more clairvoyant or subtle mentalist kind of study. But that's how I got into some stuff, and it was more my quest to understand people. I really love, oh, you can see Bamba a little. I'll try to show you. Bamba. Oh, you're so cute. Look at his face. Oh my god. So anyway, that's like my point there. But I will show you some books that I recently got, because sometimes it's interesting. This is called Active Dreaming, Journeying Beyond Self-Limitation to a Life of Wild Freedom. I didn't even know what this book was about. When I bought it, I found someone who wrote a blog online, and I was like, oh, he wrote a book, I'm just gonna get his book. So I haven't read it yet. I can't give you a review. I like to study as a Reiki practitioner polar therapy or polarity therapy. So this is another, I have a few books on this. This is another one that I heard was pretty good. It teaches you a lot about like the movement of energy and sending and receiving. This one looks really cool. It's actually like part of a set, but this is the only one that I have. It's just called Esoteric Healing. Looks pretty cool. I haven't read this at all yet, so I can't really tell you. But it's just like confirming, or not confirming, but really drilling into your mind about how we live in a world of energy and the vehicles to harness this energy, the nervous system. So it goes into more stuff like that. And here I got this one recently. It's called The Subtle Body. This would be a great starter book if you're working with energy or if you're a Reiki person. It really is very general and easy to digest. It talks about, I don't know if you can see that, the aura there and the subtle energy field. So when I'm talking to you guys about, clearing your aura and your subtle energy, you can see, I'm sorry if I'm too close to the microphone, but you can see, get an idea of what I'm talking about there. So those are just some suggestions. Sorry, I'm like all over the place. Okay. Will you say anything about the use of crystals? I know that you love your crystals and you have a pretty big collection. How do you use them? All right, this is definitely something I've answered before, but that's totally cool. We don't always get to see all the collections of videos and stuff. If you are curious, I do have some videos specifically for crystals. I probably have like 3, so it shouldn't be that hard to weed through. But crystals work just like sound works, just like aromatherapy works, on the principle of vibration, which is something that they teach in Hermeticism, but they teach it in all different lines. But I would say Hermeticism is the one that I resonate the most with and that I like to study myself. So our senses pick up vibration. Our senses pick up sound. Is easy for us to identify as a vibration. We can picture what a sound wave looks like, and we're like, okay, cool, that's vibration. But feeling and touch is also the vibration. In fact, on a microscopic level, our hands never truly touch. There's always a gap between the cells. Like, you cannot create your hands to physically touch. I know that's like kind of weird because it's like, well, I feel that, but you're feeling the vibration of what the texture is. Light, we interpret vision through light in our eyes, and that is a vibration. So crystals vibrate just like we vibrate on a molecular level, down super tiny. they're moving. The cells are moving, just like everything. The table, the hardwood table that you might be sitting at, is moving at a molecular level. So our bodies change, our vibration changes, and you can see this in your mood changing. When you feel really good, you're vibrating on a good place. You're vibrating a place that will attract more good to you, and good is determined by what you see as good. So I'm not saying it has to be this or that. It's like when you feel good, you're vibrating in a good way for yourself. And when you feel mad or angry or sick to your stomach because you're so mad, your vibration is what we would call lower, but it's not like lower on a scale, but that's just kind of like the best language to use for like kind of explaining it. So when you hold a crystal, here's a little piece of fluorite. When you hold something in your hand or you wear it, which is my favorite way to use them, your body will try to match the vibration of the crystal. It will come closer to matching that vibration. So that's why each one works differently for every person. I mean, that's not necessarily true. I guess like amethyst might work the same for a lot of people, but it might work differently for someone else. Some stones are too powerful for people. Some, they find them super comfortable, like moldavite or Herkimer diamond are good examples as very high vibrational stones, which are too much for some, but like really great for other people. So that's how they work. When they're in your environment, they're giving off that energy too. It's just that it's much more effective when it's very close to you, which is why I love to make those talismans. That's like my favorite thing in the world. Like I'm not wearing one now because I haven't like properly dressed myself. I'm wearing leggings and I just throw on this wrinkled shirt. But having something with you is going to be the most effective way to work with crystals. I hope that answers the question. Okay, I'm going down. Sorry, it's like my stupid screen here. Thank you, Jacob. Do I do private readings? Hey, Carolina. Sorry, I didn't see you guys. Okay. The Trust Your Vibes Oracle deck is amazing. Yes, Reiki can be done on the planet, on the stars, on your past, on the food that you're going to eat. It can be done for anything. There are many Reiki groups that will get together even through distance, even like, you know, they might come online or maybe they send like a group email and they do healing for the planet and they will like focus on different poles. Some people might focus on the north while the others focus on the south or different points, because the earth does have chakra points as well. So they will like focus on like different areas too. They will call it like gridding the earth or healing the earth. So it's definitely something, if you do Reiki, you can get involved with. It's really a beautiful process and it's just really nice. What about expanding your consciousness or awakening? I don't really understand that question. I'd say expanding your consciousness is just being more aware and being more honest with yourself, with what you want, with what might be blocking you from getting what you want, which is usually, you know, I will say 100% of the time within you. It's your own thing, which might be doing that. Okay, and you make it to the end of your video, gonna fall asleep. Yeah, falling asleep in a video is perfect. And you know what? In Reiki sessions, I'd say 75% of the time people fall asleep during a Reiki session. And my thought is that our body naturally is in a more, when we're sleeping, it's much more able to heal, like on a physical level. Even without Reiki, when you sleep, your cells regenerate, they do repair, they cleanse, they flush, which is why it's so good to drink water first thing in the morning so you can like flush out anything that your body had been like processing over the night. So certainly it would be a good idea to you know, if you're watching the video and you know you're gonna fall asleep, it's okay to say like, oh, you know, if this healing is real, if this is, you know, if I would be open to this, and just let it go like while you're sleeping and just kind of trust that. Do I do private readings? I do private teachings. I do private one-on-one things. I do things here in New York where we can meet up and like go over something. The thing is that my services are, I don't want to say they're like out of everyone's price range. They're certainly not, but I know that it can be like somewhat expensive depending on the person, you know, like, and there's really not that much I can do about that. Like, this is my livelihood. I'm not, booked 100% all day. So it's not like, oh, well, she's making thousands of dollars a day or something. Like, that's certainly not true. I used to do tarot readings, pendulum readings, and energy readings, like without the Reiki, but just an energy reading for each person. And I'm so glad you mentioned this or asked this question, because I'm actually going to be offering that here during live. So let's say someone wants a tarot reading or an energetic reading of some kind or anything along the lines of that. I can make it less expensive for the person when I'm doing it live, because then I can sit and do a bunch and I don't have to take as much time to write something out, because the writing part is usually like a big part for me. I don't know if any of you are ever like have worked with me for Reiki sessions, but that's like a lot of work for me. So I'm thinking about doing that here, and I would love your feedback. I was actually going to put that in community, where it's like a $1 or $5 or $10 donation, depending on how lengthy and in-depth the thing is, because I think that would be just more accessible for everyone. But I could be wrong. I'm just trying to play with things. I'm always very open. In the beginning of your spiritual journey, does it seem to be a constant state of starvation for any and all occult? Yeah, it does, right? It does. When you're in the beginning, and even different times when you're on this path, or, I'm saying on this path, it's just like this interest, it's this hunger for more information. It's a desire to understand yourself so that you can understand the world around you. In ancient teachings, and you may have heard me say this before, so I'm so sorry if you guys hear me repeat myself, but in ancient teachings, it was the study of man. Like, they literally studied the body, like down to everything, down to the 12 chambers that we have in our skull, reflected in the stars by the 12 zodiac signs. So it's like the study of man, and even the human body can be seen on a more macro level or a more micro level as well. So understanding yourself is the best thing that you can do. Oh my gosh, the name went out of my head, but know thyself is like really the best thing that anyone can do, is get in touch with themselves. I know, Bamba is the cutest. Okay, alert and present. You always, I'm sorry, I just lost it. I went up too far. Maybe I'm down too far. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's like annoying when somebody's like just reading. Ooh. Okay. You always seem so alert and present in your videos. Any tips on being in the moment? That took practice for me. I certainly feel like I'm out of the moment sometimes, because my thoughts kind of like come in these things, and I just start kind of jumping all over the place, and I know that can be super annoying. But it's just catching yourself. It's the more you bring yourself into the moment, the easier it becomes the next time and the next time and the next time. And it's even if you look at it from like more of like a meditation type of thing. I like to meditate on a daily basis. I love meditating. It's like my favorite thing. It's like, okay, I'm locking the door, guys. You're good. You're playing video games. Okay, I'm gonna go meditate. I got a new stone, or I just want to read this passage in this book, and I'm gonna go like reflect on it, or whatever I'm gonna do. So the more that you can do something like that, now I can do that when I'm doing anything, and I could be talking to someone and I'll be like, I need a break. And it's not like I'm tuning them out, but I'll just kind of like, be like, oh, I'll be right back. And I'll just like take a little quick walk or just go do something. And I can just kind of retreat into like this mental space that I have in my brain, which we all have. So it's just practicing it and just catching yourself, being aware, listening to what's going on in your mind, in your emotions, in what your heart is saying, what is crossing your mind intellectually as well. Like, this is where I would call our mental movie screen, I call it, like vision, but this is the dialogue. This is the thoughts. So Bamba is a very nice dog. He's the best, and he knows it. Can we see your crystal collection in its entirety sometime? Probably not. There's so many. I did do a video where I showed a very significant amount of them, like a very, very significant amount. I got so many for Christmas from people like Monk and Moon. I made like a purchase from them, and we don't have a deal worked out. This is not something where I've been like, hey, I'll put your thing on my channel. But in the beginning, when I started my channel, People ask me all the time, where do I get crystals? Where do I get crystals? So I just put my favorite crystal store there. Like, I love Monkey Moon. I shop there a lot. The quality is incredible. Maxwell is the owner's name. He's very, it's curated, you know, it's like very, very picked out very, very nicely. So I just put his thing there, you know, and we like, he'd say, thank you, you know, and sometimes when I ordered stuff, he would like give me some extra stuff. And this time I ordered like just a couple of things and he sent me like all this extra stuff. So I was like super lucky. What I'm trying to say is Buffalo Tom has sent me things. Carolina has sent me gifts. I get gifts all the time from people and I'm so blessed. And I buy my own all the time too. So I just have so many crystals. I don't know if I could do it. I'll do my best to do it sometime this year where I put them all on my bed or something. Maybe I'll be able to. There might be a few that skip the get left out. Okay. You look so much like the teacher from Recess. Oh, I love Recess. Cool. Lower like musical notes. That's a great way to put it. Very good quote by Nikola Tesla. Tesla didn't say that. Sorry, I'm just like reading this. Does Reiki or ASMR help to expand your consciousness? I would say Reiki absolutely helps to expand your consciousness. If you get a Reiki session, and this is not me trying to sell you guys, but this is what I do, so of course I'm going to have some good things to say about it. When you get a Reiki session, wait, did we just lose each other? Looks okay. Sorry, the color changed from green to yellow, so the quality might go down, so please do let me know. If you get a Reiki session, you're going to get an energetic reading. Let's say my Reiki sessions, right? Now, I do offer these just by distance, in person here in New York, or now I make video versions of them. So it's like as close to a real session as I can do, but it's a video version of it. And that's super fun. I love making those. But through that process, not only am I doing a balancing and working with someone, but I'm doing an energetic reading. After the session, or even during, but after the session, there's a follow-up which will tell you what your energy was like. So it will say, oh, I noticed that this was a little blocked. Your third eye was a little blocked. Oh, your crown was a little blocked. Oh, your heart was a little over-energized, or whatever the case may be. And that gives you something that you can take forward and look into. So let's say I tell someone that their heart is a little overactive. I'll never say, and I would never claim to say, this is exactly what it is, and you should look into this, and you need to do this. I would never do that. But I will provide what I would typically see that manifested in. So let's say the heart being overactive, that's like putting your own personal needs to the back burner, putting other people first all the time, like so that you lose yourself and you lose touch of what is really important to you. So I'll give them that. And if they feel that's true, I'll also give them some suggestions on how they can work to keep that energy balanced. So it will give you more to think about yourself. The thing about raising your consciousness, raising your awareness, all of these spiritual awakenings is looking within yourself. It's always about things that will make you think, whether it's learning more into astrology, or palmistry, or tarot, or Reiki, or energy, or, visiting the astral dimensions or whatever. It has to be something that makes you think and that you're interested in. So if it's about yourself, you're typically more interested in that, and that's a good sign. You should be interested in yourself. So I hope that kind of answers the question. I wouldn't say necessarily it's the ASMR that helps to expand your consciousness, but I use ASMR because I find it to be so very relaxing. I love it, and I love to contribute to that community. It's gorgeous and sweet and loving and all the things that I'm all about, but I use it for different reasons. One, to put the person in a more relaxed state because, we're all, how could that be bad? And to create a safe feeling. So if there is a release, if there is something that they have to let go of or anything like that, if they feel comfortable doing so. But also it does sometimes trigger these like feelings in your body, and it's not necessarily like a muscle feeling, right? It's like where the muscle is not there or the tissue is not there. It's like this tingling in between the cells almost. I mean, that's how I feel about it anyway. So I love all of that, and I think that it's really beautiful, beautiful thing. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm 35 and I'm still learning. It was funny. I just was like typing in my own name on Google, and it was like, like it pops up right away, like pre-populate with what common searches are. And it was like Lune Innate ASMR, Lune Innate age. I was like, guys, I'm 35, okay? if you're really curious. Okay. How do you know if you have a grounding problem? You would feel you'd feel not supported potentially. You would feel unsafe. You might feel very fearful. That can come from different areas, but that's specifically something that we'll see. You will feel spacey. You won't feel down to earth. You will find a harder time feeling supported is the best way that I can say it. If someone wants me to be their Reiki teacher, I do teach Reiki, and I do teach through distance as well. I'll give you guys this information because I get asked so much. I don't know if it's even worth mentioning here, but through how I teach Reiki through distance is I send pre-recorded videos first. I have dyslexia. It's hard for me to write lengthy things. I've tried to do this before with Reiki teaching, and it's so embarrassing when I go back and I see all these typos like days later. It's very stressful for me. My medium is video. I might not be the best at it, but my medium is video. So I send videos first as a way to get the bulk of the traditional teachings, just to get that out so somebody can watch that at their leisure, because it's about I want to say an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. I could be wrong, but about that length of time for the actual video content. And then we schedule a face-to-face, that could be Google Hangouts. Facebook is okay, or Skype. I try to avoid Skype because it just it always doesn't work for me, but something like that. And then we'll have about 2 hours or so for Reiki 1 to talk and go over what we've covered in the videos, and just vibe with each other and answer any questions you have, and just kind of go from there. And then we do the attunement then too as well. Okay. How long took my spiritual awakening? It's still going on. I would say that when I was younger, and I've said this before too, that I had a very spiritual aunt. We did a lot of cool witchy stuff together, or I would call it witchy. It wasn't casting spells, but it was charging our candles. So we'd take our candle to the beach. We lived right by the ocean. Take our candle to the ocean under the full moon, and we would just play a little bit, be in the sand. It'd be exciting. You could imagine being 13 years old with your cool aunt with this beautiful full moon at the ocean. It was really cool and fun. Really good memories that I have of doing that. So I had a spiritual side to myself, I could say. And I lost it through high school. I lost it through, becoming more social, dating, etc. And after high school, I started working right away. So I wasn't super spiritual in those periods of time. And then my mother told me she was dying. She lived in England. I hadn't seen her for 10 years. And she told me she was gonna die. She had lung cancer because she was a very, very heavy smoker my whole life. And I was very afraid of death at that time. And I wanted to understand that, where was this fear coming from? We all die. It's not really healthy to be afraid of death. I felt scared, So I started reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And I visited my mom. I got to see her before she passed. She passed a week later, or less than a week later after I saw her. And it was through facing my mother's death that this kind of wash came back to me, this spiritual wash of sorts, this wave rather. And I just kept reading. I just kept getting more books and more books and more books and more books, and reading and reading and reading, and just meditating. And the month after my mother passed away, I found out I was pregnant, and I thought that I couldn't get pregnant. I had some problems with that type of stuff before, and losing your mother and then finding out you're pregnant, carrying a child and giving birth to a child is a very intense, holy, Mufasa, circle of life, fucking Simba and shit kind of feeling. And it took me out of the workforce. I didn't have to go back to work for a year, thank God. My partner you know, supported us. You know, like I got to take off from work and just be a loving mother. So I had time, and it's still I'm still in the process of it. Love your information. I'm level 1, but haven't practicing. Keep it up, but it will come back to you too. You know, I get this a lot, Reiki people who like don't do it. Don't worry about it. Like, if it'll come at the right time for you. Do I do readings online? I'm starting to do readings here, I think, is what I'm gonna do, because it's just hard for me to price those because they take me a long time, and I don't want to like scare people away by that kind of thing. So I'll probably offer it again, but I'm trying to figure out my readings, I guess, is like the best thing. So I think I'm going to do them live and see if that works out for people, because I want something to be like accessible, essentially. Sometimes we differently want. It's hard to realize in the moment. So true. Okay. I don't talk about Reiki symbols. I've answered this so many times, and I totally get it, guys. You can look online. You can totally find them online. They're everywhere. Just look up Reiki symbols. In traditional Reiki teachings, you are supposed to keep them private. You're supposed to memorize them and not even write them down so that you can reflect on them. Like it's meant to be taught from teacher to student, and they protect them. They protect them and hold them very sacred. While they are everywhere, I think there's even like an emoji of like a partial part of a Reiki symbol. I will never share the Reiki symbols on YouTube because it goes against what my teacher taught me. I have that respect for the practice, and I just won't do it, you know. That said, go ahead and look them up. Like, I don't discourage people from looking them up. They're not going to work for you. If you're not attuned to a Reiki symbol, it's not going to have the same effect. So that's why I don't. So I don't mean to be rude about it at all. Please, like, I completely understand. But it's like to be respectful and honor the traditions. I won't teach them here. I teach them to my students, or, you know, the people who I'm attuning to Reiki. Yeah, that's how I felt about death, I guess I could say, was that I felt like I'd have nightmares about it. It wasn't the fact of being gone, like that doesn't really scare me. It was the fear of transitioning, I should say, into death, like the awareness, the feelings in your body. And I would say that the Tibetan Book of the Dead was very good for that, because it does explain the physical things which you might be able to expect when you're passing on. And it was actually interesting because as I was with my mother, I was sharing some stuff with her, and she was just like, oh God, I wish people would like talk to you about this stuff. She's like, I don't even know what to expect. She knew she was gonna die, you know, like she was like, I pray every night that I die now, because like I just don't want to deal with this pain anymore, because it had like metastasized in her bones, and it was awful, you know. So okay, I wish I could have a child. I've been trying for years, but have recently been. That's tough. That's so tough. I feel for you. But you know, I don't want to downplay that. I've sympathized so much. I had that fear of not being able to have one myself. And it was like almost a need. Like I felt like I needed it, you know, like in my life, it was a need. So I can certainly relate to that. But you know, I won't have any more children. I've had like surgeries on my cervix. Sorry to like, I don't want to gross you guys out, but and it would be very, very much for my body to go through that. So, but I plan to adopt once I get my own house. I don't own my own home, and for me, I really want to do that first, and then I plan to adopt a baby girl, because I'm surrounded by boy energy, and I love to be a mom. I love being a mom. So there's certainly something there. Yeah, that fear of losing consciousness is part of it, but you don't lose consciousness. You are consciousness. You lose your body. You know, you lose the connection to your physical body. That's all. You go on. How I see death now, and who's to say, like, you know, I haven't died, I don't know, but I feel like the more you learn here, the easier death becomes, the easier the process of dying becomes, and the easier the work that you do when you are just the essence of you. So after you die, you stay in your astral body. You are your astral self. You travel to the astral planes, which are many planes of consciousness and awareness and etc. And there you do your work. So you have more work to do, like it's not a person, but like as a person. It's snowing here, so if you hear any weird sounds, it's people shoveling outside. So now that I know that, and I have been to the astral plane, I visited my mother on the astral plane when I didn't even know what that was. There's a great book by, I'll just grab it, you guys. I'm sorry to like run away, but I'll give you a great book. If you're afraid of death, read this book. All right, I don't really only share this with like people who I'm teaching Reiki to because it's a bit much. And I actually bought this from Miss Synchronicity, so it still smells like the store. This is a book. It's super tiny, and these are my favorite freaking kind of books. They are meaty little gems. This is by Swami Panchadasi, but this is a pen name. He's actually William Walker Atkinson is his name, but you can go by this. I've seen this on Amazon for like $60 because it's fucking Amazon. I bought this in Manhattan, where everything is so overpriced, in Union Square for $4.95. So if you're paying more than $10 for this, like, you're getting really ripped off. However, it's a gem. I've probably bought this book 10 times because I keep giving it away. But this will explain disembodied soul, some of the levels of the astral plane, because there's just too many to go into. But this is a great book to give you guys a little place to look. Amazing. It's a great book. Okay. Sorry. I keep losing the thing. Could you do a Reiki session for recovering from winter colds or flus? Yes, I am planning on doing an immunity boosting. Let me try that again. Immunity boosting Reiki session, which will be kind of shorter because it's just going to focus on boosting our immunity and recovering from stuff like that. That's definitely something I have planned. Okay, I'm just going back a little bit. I have seen everything. Oh, people always ask me about this painting. This painting, is that the one you're asking about? It's like a head, if you can't tell. A friend gave it to me. He got it from a museum. There was like a small museum in Brooklyn closing. I think that it was in Brooklyn. It was in New York, I'm pretty sure. And he was friends with one of the curators or owners or something. It wasn't like a big museum. It wasn't like natural history or something. It was like a little art gallery or whatever. And they were like closing down and they were just getting rid of stuff, and he took it because he wanted the frame. And I saw it and I was like, I really like that. Like, I like that kind of style. And it is by a Russian person. I don't know, and I don't read Russian, but I don't think that's written in Russian necessarily, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's just a head with some like this, if that's the one you're talking about. I stayed up all night watching it, but I have been. Yeah, that's a big thing. That is a big thing. Like, let's talk about awareness. When you stay up all night watching like these kind of like you said, like top 10 videos for this or that. I always am so trying to be aware of that. Like if I start, luckily, like let's say Instagram, I'll be like scrolling. Luckily for me, like my feed is really positive, so it's not necessarily like bringing me back to those top 10s or Teen Mom, which was like something I was kind of addicted to for a moment. But that's a perfect example. Where's your energy going then? It's just kind of being drained from you, and putting that into something, even watching a video that's more beneficial for you, even if it's like Planet Earth or something that's like peaceful at least, or, educational in some way, is better, I think, than those top 10 videos. But like, we all get sucked in. I'm not judging. Yeah, you're so right, Anthony. It's simply the strip of ego and pride. How do you get better at listening to your first instinct? People always listen to my first name, but I don't know where to begin. Well, if you're open to it, I would suggest a pendulum. Pendulums are amazing for helping to tap into your intuition and go with what's best for you. So here's my personal pendulum. This is like one I use for myself. I have one that I use for clients and one that I use for myself. So this is mine. So let's say I have two instincts. One is to go out and shovel, and the other is to do live stream or something like that. So I'll say, will I get the most benefit from going outside and shoveling? And it's swinging for me counterclockwise, which is a no for me. And then will I get the most benefit and rewarding experience from being live on YouTube and connecting to other people? So that's like a yes for me. I know it's like a simple way to look at it, but something like that can be a little more tangible, even though it's out there, a little more tangible for someone to connect with their intuition or their gut instinct. Thank you guys, you're so nice. Do you know Reiki opens the mind and the doorway for evil? No, it doesn't at all. Let me go back a little. Sorry, I'm going back. Okay. Thank you guys. I appreciate your kind words so much. Thank you. Hello. Okay, how do I feel about teaching spirituality to children? I am so drawn to do that. I would love to, and I do have plans to, it's just not in the works yet, make like a children's book or a children's video series or something. Not that it would be on this channel at all, but I think that whether it's teaching spirituality and things like meditation and just understanding of yourself, understanding of your emotions, how to, you know, navigate through your emotions and not like attach to them and let them run you, or teaching Reiki too. I would love to teach Reiki to kids, and that's something I'm very drawn to. I'm really good with kids. Kids usually like me. You know, I don't not all of them, I guess, but like I've never really had an experience where kids like didn't like me. So I think it's great that anyone do it, but I'm personally very interested in that as well. What you can do to help yourself conceive is don't put pressure on yourself. This is for someone who's asking on conceiving a child, and I do have clients who have wanted to get pregnant. They've gone and got tests done, everything was fine. You know, it was more of a mental block. There's this thing that we need when we need something, when we feel like we need something, when we feel like something is missing. It doesn't happen. it crystallizes and makes real this void, and then the void is what you get more of. You get more of the absence of something. So for me, I know when I really wanted a kid, I'd always have dreams about them, or not always, but when I had dreams about them, it would be like something was wrong. Like one time it was like my baby, but it was like a little bumblebee. Another time it was more like a doll, and I'd have a baby and it would be kind of like a baby doll. It wasn't like a real baby, and I didn't have anything, and I'd be like freaking out, like, oh my God, I don't have diapers, I don't have this, I don't have a crib, I don't have anything. And as I got more ready to have one, or whatever, like mentally, or more like grown in my own way or whatever, I'd have real dreams about babies, like a couple of them. And then after that, I got pregnant. So it's important that you play in your mental space and just see yourself being a loving mother. And say, you know, to yourself, no matter what it is, if it's your own baby, if it's adoption, don't like get too technical with yourself. Just see yourself, envision yourself, meditate on it. Write in your journal about like what good mom you are, and what you do with your kids, and what the things you love to teach them, what are the things you like to do together, all of that, and just make it very real for yourself. Not that not that it's hard, not that it's a challenge, but that it's so easy, and I got pregnant so easily. I'm just born to be a mom. Just focus on that, and that's the best thing that I can say, because that's what I've done myself, you know. Okay. Calming Reiki video for doggies. I have one video with Bamba in it. I don't know if you've seen it before. Voice chakra video. Sorry, could you do a voice chakra video with the turquoise stone? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Good to see you. Thank you. Sorry guys, I know this is like super annoying when somebody's reading the comments. I'm just trying to get to the questions. Thank you. Yeah, that's what that is. Everybody always wonders. And people sometimes complain about it too. And I'm like, it's not your wall. It's my wall. I get to pick whatever art I like and I love it. Okay. Do you believe in Ouija boards, and have I ever played Ouija boards? Not since I was like in grade school. I'm just not really drawn to use them. I don't really have any reason to communicate with the people who have passed on. And even when I do, I don't really use a board to do so. However, I have a lot more life ahead of me. And I think that it's certainly something I would like to get into eventually. But I do believe in them. I do believe that they can be used as just for what they're meant for. And I'm not really drawn to it, I guess. Most of the time, my stuff, or I'm communicating with anything, whether it's my guides or whatever, I do so through tarot or writing or meditation or something like that. How does spirituality and Reiki help us understand the world around us, even though people are different? How does it benefit us in the world? When you're in a better place, mentally, physically, financially, relationship wise, when you're happy without something having to make you happy, when you understand yourself and you can understand that you've been in all these different places, you've had all these different experiences, and you're at a place where you're not judging other people, that is what the world needs. The world needs to be less judged, less negative, and I don't mean the bad kind of negativeness, like judging of each other, and that will help everyone. So when you are a better person, not only do you perceive the world differently, but your energy is that which, have you ever seen like the movie Angus? Like, that's like an old movie, but there was this thing about like this science project where it was like a petri dish or whatever, petri dish, and it had this material, and it was like this, like, whatever, it was like filled with some kind of fluid or something, and he would put a drop into it, and eventually at the end of the movie, the science experiment like changes everything around it instead of it changing. So when you have that integrity, when you're just very connected and good with yourself, and this doesn't have to be Reiki. Reiki is like something I'm super into, but I'm into self-discovery and all of this stuff outside of Reiki too. It'll, like, how could that not be better? The female masculine divine connects through love, but can be taken advantage of through the spiritually young, and it's not. That is very true. What's my favorite cereal? I don't really eat cereal anymore because I will eat like a box of cereal if I eat it, but I really love Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I used to love Fruity Pebbles, but it makes my mouth feel weird. Do I know that Reiki opens the mind and the doorway for evil, kind of like sleeping with your house door wide on? I think that opening your crown chakra too much for you when you're not ready for it might be something that attracts things, but you only attract what's already within you, and you only attract things so that you can be brought up into your consciousness so that you can deal with them. That's how I see it. Like, I'm my own person, I have my own views, obviously, but that's how I see it. So Reiki does not open the mind in that way. Reiki does not open a doorway for evil. Reiki will bring up some shit that might be bubbled in you and might come into your consciousness, and you'll be like, oh my God, I have to deal with this. And you just like let it go. Like, I see you, I see this lesson, I see, this was an awful experience for me, but I'm stronger, I've grown, this has taught me compassion, this has taught me non-judgment, this has taught me that, when I see someone in this position, I'm more apt to help and empathy and etc. And you let that go with love. It doesn't like open doors for evil. Have I ever said anything about crystals and the use of it? Yeah, I just mentioned that earlier in this. I will publish this. As long as I make sure that the audio is good, I will publish this video so you can watch it back. Sorry, I'm just scrolling. Sorry, it keeps like jumping me down to the bottom. I'm trying to like make. Beginners to stay grounded. I mean, moving your body is a way to stay grounded. Feeding your body like nutritious things will keep you grounded. And making sure that you are flexible, I want to say. Like, it doesn't have to be where you can put your foot behind your head, but just like being able to sit for a minute or like move in a certain way will help to keep this like flow going, which comes from your roots down the meridians through your knees and through the bottoms of your feet will help you. Okay. Yes, I look at the pendulum's movement. That will be what indicates how it's a yes or a no, will be indicated through the way that it moves. Can sandalwood be used as smudge? Yeah, oh, of course, you can definitely use that. I mean, I've never done it myself, honestly, so I'm not sure how it burns. For example, I have like ash bark, and it doesn't really burn in the same way, but you could still use that. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to like get through the ones. I don't want to skip any. I spend a majority of my energy watching videos of octopus. I love watching videos of octopus too. How do you know which is a yes or no? Okay, so I have a video on pendulums, guys, so you can totally check that out. I'll give you much more info. But for me, I will say, when I first connect with it, please show me a yes, please show me a yes. And that's like a clockwork spin for me, typically. And then you can say, please show me a no, and that's a counterclockwise for me. Yours might be straight back and forth like this, or side to side. So you should ask that. And then you can test it. So I'll say, my name is Jillian, and I get a clockwork spin. My name is Sam, and I get a no. So that's how, like, a typical way to use it. And pendulums are reading your body's movement. They're not like communicating with spirits or something. It's your body has an intelligence in it, just like that muscle testing or any other form of physical dowsing. And what the pendulum does is it picks up more on the subtle movements in your body's reactions to the question, and it will show you then. So when people are like, oh, we see your hand moving, or oh, my hand moved it, it's like, yeah, your hand is supposed to move it. You're not supposed to do it on purpose, but you will like twitch a little, or like you breathe, or like something will happen where your body will answer the question for you. Oh, thank you, Anthony. Why does karma work, and what is it? Well, karma, that's like a ball of worms to talk about. Everybody's different in what they believe for karma. But for me, I see karma as experiences. If the world is round, if the clock is round, if we live on this sphere, the sphere of Earth, we have these like orb-like kind of dimensions, and we have these orb-like things that go around, right? So there's always a cross, whether it's there's always an opposite is what I'm trying to say. So let's say like on a zodiac wheel, or on a clock, or on anything, whatever, there's like, it's round and there's always a opposite side. It's not linear is what I'm trying to say. Karma, for me, from my belief, is a need to balance the experiences. So if you have been hurtful, let's say, if you've taken advantage of someone, if you've broken hearts carelessly, you're going to get your heart broken, or something's going to happen where that gets taken from you. And it's not because of this karma that's out to get you. It's your soul contract to experience all sides of the polar spectrum. So that's why it's good to stay more in the, I don't say neutral zone, but to know that, you're supposed to, you're going to end up feeling this. It could be in a next life, or from a past life, or something like that. But it's this fulfillment of experiences. That's how I see karma. There's lots of studies on it, though. My dog's going to bark at my son trying to break into the room. So just so you know. If you ever have a time or feel like be valuable, could you elaborate on intuition? Like, is the stone at the end of the pendulum important? Intuition is just like what you think, it's what you think. Like, if you're rolling a dice, if you're flipping a coin, if you anything like that can be seen as like something that could be like an intuitive thing that you try to pick up on to like a game you can play with yourself. The stone doesn't matter for a pendulum. You could use a ring with a piece of cord. You could use a couple paper clips and some dental floss. It has nothing to do with the stone. It doesn't even have to be made of stone. And intuition is just like, it's an inner knowing. And the way that you build up your intuition is by listening to it. So when it does come up, when you do hear it, you say, oh, I heard that intuitively. Like, let's say you're taking a walk. Something will tell you to go left or right when you come to a point where you can make a decision. There's no, greater or lesser experience. Let's say, like, if you're just taking a walk around the block, you're not like, oh, I'm gonna like have a bad day if I go this way or that way. But there'll be some type of intuition where you're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go this way. Like for me, when I go into Manhattan, it's like a little easier to explain that way because it's like a grid, and if I go down this street, I might find a new shop that I like, or I might run into a friend or something like that. So like that's just an example of like how intuition can help you to navigate things. Thank you guys. You're so nice with these compliments. Thank you. Thank you. You're so welcome. Okay, good. I know like when I watch people, I'm like, it's not annoying for me to see people read the comments, but I know it's like scrolling. It's true. Anthony has a good point here. Do things with good intention. That is like such a key to living and creating a better world. When your intention is good, when you like come from a place of like, I'm not trying to do any harm, this is just what I'm trying to do, it's just so much easier. And you can put even more into it. So it's like, if let's say my partner has a cold, I will be making him tea or something like that, and my intention is for the tea to make him feel better, as simple as that. Or when you send a gift to someone, or anything along the lines of that, or when you're reading a book, or when you're meditating, your intention is for growth of some kind, or understanding, or whatever. You can put intention into everything. I've never read the story The Egg. I'll write it down. I did bring a notebook this time. Okay. Do I believe in God or Jesus? Sure, yeah, I believe in God and Jesus. I believe that God is the supreme energy. I don't see it like a man in the sky or anything like that. I see it as this supreme universal energy of God or Allah, or electromagnetism, or anything that the major creator, the illuminator, like that's how I see God. And Jesus I see as a person who wanted to understand all sorts of healings, of spirituality, of things like that, and lift people up like a prophet of sorts. So that's how I see Jesus. Okay. Thank you. These glasses are from Firmo. They were very inexpensive, and I got them. They're slightly tinted brown, which I know make them look even more like old lady glasses, but they're very helpful for like when you're looking at a screen or driving. Why does intuition always lead me down a bad path? It seems that you might not be listening to your intuition. You might be listening to your like more temptation side of intuition. However, you can't really call one path good or bad. I've done some fucked up shit in my life, like I've done some I've broken people's hearts. I've walked out on relationships, which it was the best thing for me to do, but it was kind of hurtful to other people. I've had experiences with drugs, with drinking too much, and being cruel to people in my child, when I was younger, being very cruel, just like all of us have. So these are experiences that learn the lesson that that experience is trying to teach you, and you won't be drawn to do it over and over again. If you learn like, oh my God, I'm doing this thing, like, what am I doing? This doesn't serve me. This isn't helpful to other people. Like, what's going on? It'll be a lesson for you, and then you don't have to do it over and over again. It's true. All right, thank you. These are from a shop on Etsy. If you look at my video on all the stuff I bought myself for Christmas, this is one of them. Well, when you're a kid, you're cruel. You know, you do things that are hurtful. I've definitely, wanted people to like me, like specifically in like, let's say grade school. Like I was very bullied, like very, very bullied. Not every single day, but it was a recurring thing for me. So when people were bullying someone else, I'd like jump in and be like, oh yeah, she's stupid. Like I would do that too. Or like, it's not something I'm proud of, but I was younger and it taught me right there. You can see that it taught me the dual nature in that experience, the bullier and being bullied, and now I can look back and I would never do that again. I've seen both sides of that experience, and I can come from a place of non-judgment where I'm not necessarily judging the bullies, and I'm not necessarily, it's not like I approve of that. Don't get me wrong. And I would certainly stand up for someone if I saw that happening, but I can see it. Like I've done it myself. So how can I judge someone, I know Heather Feather's videos. I don't know her personally at all. What is my best spiritual experience? I don't know. I don't know. I'd say maybe my favorite is the Reiki attunements that I've had, and doing Reiki attunements are probably my favorite things. Okay. Do plants have any use beneficial? Well, herbs do, certainly, and plants are wonderful for the environment that you have in your space, so it would help for you to be creating a sacred space, you could say, and giving love to something, caring for something. And herbs in general can be used, but that's not necessarily Reiki. That might be more along the lines of just energy work in general. Any tips on crystals or oils or incense that could help with digestive issues? Let me think. Crohn's. I guess I would say something to work. See, for you, for something like that, it's really hard for me to be general, but you can certainly Google like crystals used for Crohn's, and like you might get something that comes up. From my standpoint, I would rather do an energy reading on you to see if your, specifically your sacral and solar plexus are over or under energized, because that might change in the crystal that I recommend. Some might raise the energy there and some might calm it down. So just like intuitively, I feel like it might be over energized, but I don't know. So I would say more calming stones, but that's certainly something that I feel like should you might need to learn like more of like your energetic reading right now. I don't speak Spanish. Sorry. I would love to learn. Do I believe love is blind, or do you believe in soulmates? Well, I believe in both. They don't necessarily need to be like cut apart. I'm just thinking. I definitely believe in soulmates. I feel like we have many soulmates. I don't think that we all have one soulmate. I think we have many. Some might be your soulmate for, things that you love to do together for some, while some might be a soulmate that's like makes a good partner for you. And, depending on what you're into, like if it's like a family kind of thing you're after, you might have that like family soulmate type thing. So I certainly believe in that. Okay. How can someone find out his animal or totem guide? You have many animal or totem guides. They will all serve you differently. They will all bring different energy to you. Sometimes you choose them, sometimes they choose you. You can certainly do guided meditations that help you to identify that. But typically, when you're drawn to like your favorite animal or something, that will be a totem for you. Me, I've always said, I feel, I have many totems, but I feel like my spirit animal is like a very sensitive to climate change, kind of like wet salamander kind of thing, like those axel I'm not gonna say it right, axolots, like the Mexican salamanders. I feel like a cave dwelling lizard that like can't have too much sun, but I don't want it too cold. And that's what resonates with me. That can be really, it can be anything. And you can find that in all different ways. Again, meditation or just what you're drawn to. There's certainly tarot decks or oracle decks that will kind of help you to play with something like that. But it might be like you see images of it often, or you just have this resonance where you feel like this like brotherly kind of like, or like, sibling kind of energy with these certain animals. I don't know what you mean by tarot authors. You mean just people who create tarot decks? I only have 2 tarot decks that I work with. One is the Hermetic Tarot and the other is the Cosmic Tarot. Hello. Does distance Reiki have the same benefit as in person? This is a great question, and honestly, and I'm being so honest here. I can't say it enough, and I think that other people who do Reiki will agree with me. Distance Reiki is, I want to say, more powerful from my experience than in-person Reiki. And I will tell you why I feel that way. In a Reiki session, let's say I'm in Manhattan doing Reiki with someone, and it's Manhattan, like as nice as the place that I rent my space is, it's freaking loud outside sometimes, and a fire truck will go by, or the air conditioning will come on, and I'll be doing my session, and I'll be brought back to the surface. I'll be like, oh God, I hope that that fire truck doesn't bother them. Oh man, are they cold? Should I ask them? Do they need a blanket? They look like they're resting. And there are things that distract me. Whereas if I'm doing this distance, I have this ability to go very much more within myself. This is where I see auras. This is where messages come from while I'm doing something. This is where I can see, it's not with my eyes, but in my mental space where I see energy more. So I find that my Reiki sessions are even more powerful through distance. So I hope that answers the question. I don't want to discredit in-person sessions. They can be absolutely magical as well. And I've had some really amazing experiences both getting Reiki in person and doing so, like on people. But there's just something about distance that really it's much more powerful from my perspective. And the Reiki that I've received from other people has been much more powerful. The YouTube life is readable. I have dyslexia, so sometimes I can't say if you guys have a spelling mistake or if it's me just being all crazy. So, good night. I don't know what sorry, Dick Man. I can't understand this question. My favorite spiritual color, I'm not really a pink person, but I love pink in energy. Pink is a good energy color. It's compassionate and warm, and it's almost lucky. Like when you have a pink aura, things just really I don't know, it's the love, the higher heart. Pink is more associated with the higher heart. It's just gorgeous. I mean, I love all colors. There's not one color that I love more than the other, but I find myself very much drawn to pink auras, and when I'm working with someone, casting their aura in a pink color. Do I think mental illnesses are manifestation of evil? No, definitely not. When you're doing Reiki, what intention do I put in? I don't have an inner mantra during the process. If I did, then I wouldn't be open to receiving things. I can't be focused on repeating something or anything like that. I definitely might do that at some point, but most of the time I like to also be open for like what I'm sensing. And each person I have a different intention for, so it's very specific to the individual. Do I recommend any energy leveling methods for older people? If you mean like energy balancing methods, the same would work for you or like for older people or younger people. It doesn't really matter based on your age. Aw, thank you guys. Why is it hard to buy into positive affirmations we tell ourselves? Because affirmations don't work. Affirmations only work if you have a emotional attachment to what they are, if they evoke some kind of positive feeling. Like for me to sit and meditate and close my eyes and affirm, let's say I want to buy a house. That's like something that's like very important to me, and you know, that's like a thing that I want, let's say. But you could look at that as weight, like losing weight, gaining weight, being more healthy, like whatever. So when you have something you want, I can't just sit here and say, I live in a perfect house. I live in a perfect house. I have to picture the house. I have to feel what it feels like to be there. I have to see myself in my kitchen and how perfect it is for me, and my own, you know, the art that I like, not my own that I created, but like the art that I love on the walls, and sit there and say, and really feel it and feel like I'm there and say, I live in a perfect house. I live in my perfect house. I love my house. That is how you use affirmations. You can't just be like, I'm calm, I'm calm, I'm calm. Like, that's not gonna work. Oh, profitable? No, please don't apologize. YouTube is, I mean, like, I certainly make some money off AdSense. It's nothing that supports me entirely. It's a nice bonus, and I don't really count on it because it goes up and down. However, you know, I have 25,000 subscribers, guys. Like, that's amazing. So as you get more subscribers, as you get more views, as you progress in your channel, yes, you do make more money as that happens. I would love to support myself, maybe not entirely from YouTube one day, but to have it be a more significant part of my my funds. It's not there yet, you know, but like if I keep at it, it will be, just like anything that you put work into. Do I see aura colors? Yes. I don't walk around, you know, and just see them most of the time. It certainly happens, like these one-offs, but that's like a different type of thing. I see auras when I'm doing Reiki. I see them with my inner eyes. I don't see them with my outer eyes. I see them through like clairvoyance and more like astral vision, I would say. And that's something that I need to kind of go within myself to perceive. Do I feel lonely in a world ruled by spiritual skepticism? No, I never feel lonely because I'm happy with myself and I'm fulfilled by all the things that I surround myself by, and the things that I feed my mind. So, and I have a great community of Reiki people, and I love everyone that I work with that are my clients as well. So I'm very fulfilled and never feel lonely in that way. And I feel very blessed, you know? Yeah, you can see your own aura sometimes. It is possible to see your own aura. There's definitely videos that you can try to practice that with, but for me, whenever I tried to, I couldn't see it. I had to learn to see it through like the process of sensing energy more. What are my personal favorite ASMR triggers? I really love fast ASMR, like I'm gonna say it wrong, Nicholas. I love his ASMR. It's so good. And I love like the, like, you know, like that kind of thing. So like the makeup stuff is certainly something that I've found to be very relaxing. I don't really like the like whispering in the ear stuff, and I don't really like things that are like too soft spoken, because I like the flux in voices. Astral projection is very real. The more you try, the more you probably can't do it. It's one of those things you can't force. What does it mean if your aura is pink after watching the Zeal video? It would depend on what pink, but it would just mean that you're in a good place. Pink is like a very comfortable, very loving energy. It's not my favorite color, but I keep it around because I know how I've seen how beneficial it is for me to, I used to offer this service. I might do it again, but I would do aura casting. So it was less expensive than a Reiki session. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. It was like a mini Reiki session that worked just in the aura that I would do for a set amount of days. So like either 3 days was like the smallest you could purchase, up to 11 days, because the more you do it, it's true, the more you do it, the more it helps. And I've seen this color work in people's auras in such magical ways for different things. So I kind of lost track of what I was trying to say there, but pink is very beneficial. Yes, we do make some money from the YouTube Red. That's certainly a part of the like little funds that you get from AdSense. I mean, like, I'm a much smaller YouTube channel. There are people with millions of subscribers who get millions and millions of views. Like, my niche is a bit smaller. I don't have the reach yet. I'm not turned off to it. I would love it, but you know, that's just how it is. Well, guys, your aura changes all the time. Your aura changes very significantly depending on what you're thinking, because what you're thinking seeps out into your aura. It changes things. So when you're thinking bad thoughts, people can see it in your aura who are prone to that type of thing, and people who can't see auras will just sense, you know, the energy that you're kind of putting out. But in the same respect, when you get your aura, when someone is casting your aura, say, or when you're working to command your aura to take on a certain color, just as it seeps out, it seeps in too. So you can play that way and work with color therapy to cast your aura in certain colors. I'm so glad you guys like the mic. It's awesome. I'm so glad I got it. I got a gift card from a relative and I was like, I'm buying that mic. I know Jelly Bean Green. I like that too. Bomba's just napping. He's just napping over there, being cute. Jelly Bean Green, I participated in her like a fundraiser that she did too. She's super sweet. Okay. Thank you guys for the well wishes. For those of us that don't sense energy as well, what about a video for learning and refining our ability to sense energy? As much as I would love to do that, and maybe I will, I do have some videos that talk about that already. They're a little older. The quality is not as good, so I'm sorry, but there are some information videos like that on my channel. But I think that that's something that I'm going to put together in like an actual class. And I don't mean to like withhold information, because this is all stuff you certainly have access to looking up for yourself. So don't think like, oh, I'm not going to tell you the secret. You have to pay me. But at the same time, like, this is like part of my livelihood. Just like at this point, if I was going to consult someone on how to, you know, work with their YouTube channel and like build it up a little bit, I would work as a consultant. So it's like, and just like how editing videos, like that's something I do on the side too, you know? So, what I'm trying to say is I do want to put together these like little mini class videos, but I'll probably make those paid videos, maybe like $5. Like, I'm not saying it would be like extreme or anything, but, I'm certainly trying to understand how, or, you know, work with ways that are good for everyone, that everyone benefits, because there does an exchange of energy, you know, is helpful for all of us, and it makes it more you or me more receptive to what's being exchanged. Hope I said that right. Going back to here. Yes, your aura definitely changes based on, like I said, your thoughts. Cool. Okay. Bomba. He's just so cute. Okay, smoothies help your aura. Eating healthy helps your aura, yeah. I regularly experience anxiety and I have PTSD over other people judging me as an artist. I need to put myself out there. I need to know how to intertwine energy. Is there a chakra or gem I could focus on? I'd say you should get an energy reading from someone. I hate to be so like pushing on that kind of stuff, but while you can certainly use something like fluorite will be protective of your aura and help you to like maintain like clear thinking. Something like hematite will deflect other people's like stuff. It's much more powerful when you know what you need specifically. So I can be very general, and you can find that like through searching Google, like what could help with PTSD. Agates, jaspers are very calming and supportive, so those are really good ones, but you might benefit from an energy reading the best. Okay, I'm seeing some good ones. I'm just trying to work through. Would I ever invest in your art videos? Oh, thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that so much, because it is hard. I am drawn to being helpful. You know, like I want to be helpful, but I also need to eat. You know, so I'm trying to find like a good place for that. Do I think that the ASMR tingle effect is connected to a certain chakra, or is it affecting the whole person? I did talk about this a little bit earlier in the video, so please, you know, if you'd like to check this out, like once I upload it after we're done here. But I see it as a lot of different things. I see it as very calming, so it does help to make someone more receptive and more balanced, because like when you're calm, it's like, it's not a reset, but it's as close as you can get to a like an energy reset. It's like, okay, let's assess, let's be open. I'm calm, I will listen more when we're calm, right? We'll be more receptive, or where thoughts can come up a little more easier that are more helpful for us. It's not necessarily working with an exact chakra, but it's working with someone's just energy, like the static, you could say, in general. What are my thoughts on seeing how sad Maria was when she got her tarot cards this month? I felt really bad for her. I tried to leave a comment. I don't know how she gets so many comments, you know, so like I don't expect her to like have, you know, like whatever, but I hope that she saw that it's not about our cards are different, you know, like cards are certainly things where like I've read mine before and I'm like, really, guys, like this is what you're telling me? But it's not always how it works. So like don't let something affect you. I did feel really bad for her, and I wanted to give her a hug and just let her know, like, don't worry about it. I'm just gonna let Bamba out because he's just scratching at the door. Hey, you go out? Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. I'm sitting on a yoga ball, in case you're like, why are you so bouncy? Okay. I feel I am surrounded by an energy that when I feel frustrated or even a little angry, I feel it coming into me. It pushes me even further into dark thoughts and anger. What can I do to make it come? It sounds like your root chakra might be over energized. That like what did you say? Like that kind of thing. So I would do things to balance and calm my root chakra energy, and I would just particularly let it like come out through physical activity, even if it's just stretching. Like I don't know how physical you are, but like let it come out in bursts, and that will help you to process that anger more. Does Bamba have an aura? He does have an aura, of course. His is kind of neutral. I always see it as just like the prana aura, the like white kind of glow around him. He's really funny. Okay. Do I think homosexualism is not like a natural behavior? No, I don't judge. Like it's all, I think it's more unnatural to suppress something like that than to see it as unnatural. How can we improve our creativity and artistic skills by working with energy? I mean, when you're clear, when you're more fluid and flowing, your creativity center is more easy, which is your sacral chakra, is more easy to be expressed by what would be your throat chakra, to like simplify it. So overall being balanced and would be the best thing to do, but specifically you could work to connect the sacral to the throat and like really focus and meditate on those areas or do more research on them. Am I going to do any ritual tomorrow night? Yes, I have, let me just get it here. I have this like thing that a friend made. You may have seen me put this up. So I'm excited to use it. It has information on the full moon in Cancer. Like, not to be snotty, like I know some of this stuff already, but this is just so beautiful and perfect. So I'm going to be using this for the next 6 months until I get my next one, to record how I work with the rituals of the moon and stuff. Cancer, you know, for those of you who were talking about becoming mothers or conceiving, and this doesn't have to be for just those people, but this would be a good time for you during this full supermoon in Cancer, which is very nurturing, to manifest that vision of you becoming a mother. It doesn't have to be that. These are creative, nurturing kind of vibes. So you could use anything along the lines that you see as being like emotionally stable, emotionally supportive and validating of yourself and other people's emotions and things like that. Is Reiki another form of positive thinking? No, Reiki is energy work. It's basically being a conduit to direct energy for a person. Yeah, Mercury is like hurting some people right now. I'm okay. It's just my communication is kind of off, but like whatever, that's always me. I think you may have missed some fun stuff, Jerry. But I'm going to post this after, as long as it sounds good, which everyone is telling me that it sounds okay, because I got this beautiful microphone. I love it. I got this specifically for streaming. I don't know if I plan to use this in like a video yet. I like my other recorder microphone for that, but I will certainly be using this for all my streaming. Okay, if you're just starting your spiritual journey, a good place to start. This is something I suggested, I talked about earlier in the video here, so I would go back and watch it once I post it. But it's just like find an area of your life that you want to work on and kind of go from there. Thanks, Lisa. Aw, swim. Okay. Hello. Okay, I think if you guys have any more questions, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. It's been about an hour and 40 minutes, which is pretty good time. My coffee got cold. It's okay, I like cold coffee. I'll just wait a minute and see if you guys have any more questions while I sip this. And I know if anybody watched my last video, which got like way more views than I thought it was gonna get. It's not like like blowing up, but I thought that nobody was gonna like that video. So I'm really happy to be able to learn this thing and play more because I love it. It's so pretty. It's my favorite. I love it so much. Grounding rituals. Okay, hold on. I talked about how I use crystals. I just use them. I just wear them. I sleep with them under my pillow. I place them all around my room. I'll stare at one and meditate and study it if I want to. I'll hold it in my hand and sense the energy. I'll pick out one that I think would be most beneficial for me, and if I don't know which that is, which most of the time I know because I work with them so often, but in the beginning I might use a pendulum, hold it over the crystal, and say like, oh, which one would be best for me to use today, or which one should I take with me on my journey, or which necklace should I wear? So that's how I use them. Okay, grounding rituals. More balanced Any suggestions? Moving your body is the best thing you can do to get grounded. But meditating specifically, if you have one in your area, it would be amazing for you to go to a singing bowl thing that they might have. I have a guy that I go to. He does it in his basement, and we pack ourselves in there. They do them at yoga studios. That is a really great official way to become grounded. Like setting your intention. Like, I'm going to this singing bowl night. I'm going to focus on becoming more grounded and in my body and stuff like that. So I would work on that. Many of the times, though, people who think that they might need to be grounded actually are okay grounded, and it's something else that they need to work on. So again, you might want to check with your get an energetic reading somewhere. But that's what I would say. Like, moving your body is the best way, and just focusing on, if you picture yourself standing under a waterfall and like the weight of the waterfall, like grounding you into the sand or something, like through meditation or whatever. I'm a Sagittarius, and apparently I'm getting out of well, you're not getting out of Saturn. Saturn is getting out of Sagittarius, but that's not you. That's Saturn in Sagittarius. Saturn would reflect more on where Saturn is in your personal natal chart. You're a sun sign Sagittarius. Sun sign Sagittarius. So it's different. Like, it doesn't really matter wherever if you get your natal chart, right? You can go on astro.com, you put in your birthday and the birth time, and you get your natal chart pulled up. You will see, or you can find it in the written part as well, that Saturn will be in one of the houses, and the houses will be marked off with what sign is in there. So my Saturn is in Libra. My partner's Saturn is also in Libra, because Saturn stays in where it is for about 2 years and 3 months or something like that, like just an estimate. And we're somewhat close in age, so we both have the same Saturn return. That's what you would call it, Saturn return. So when Libra comes around, that's when I had my son, because his Saturn is also in Libra. So it's funny, he was born at the same time, pretty much, or I found out I was pregnant with him after my mom died. So right around my Saturn return, my mother also passed away. I'm not saying that that's what happens typically, but Saturn return is something much different than Saturn moving through when it's not in your Saturn return. So when Saturn enters Libra, that's going to be more significant for me than when Saturn is in Capricorn. So you might want to look into your chart. That might help you. It's called a kalimba. I'm just going back to read some of your things. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yes, I'm on Facebook. I have it's Lune Innate. You can find my Facebook page there. Just going back. Thank you. I know, I really love that instrument. It's so beautiful. I do have one crystal bowl. They're very expensive, so I put my money into the hammered Tibetan singing bowls first. And I would love to get a set of, or build up my set of crystal ones, but they're very, very pricey. And I also don't have a ton of space, and I feel like they're very, my metal ones I can stack. I have 2 of them stacked under my desk here. I have a couple under my bed. I'm not really worried about those, but my crystal ones have to be kept very safe, so I'm probably not going to get them till I get my own house. The next instrument I really want to get, it's about $200, so I have to, I don't really throw around $200. Not that I don't have $200, but I have to prioritize. But I really want to get a shamanic drum, because I'm taking some shaman courses coming up soon and stuff like that. So okay. Ways to tell if your crown chakra is too open. Typically you feel spacey. You feel it's hard. You feel almost anxious because you're too open. So it's you might feel a lot of sinus infections. You might get a lot of headaches or things like that. So that's one way to do it. You can use your pendulum and ask it. Thank you, guys. Cool. Just cool on the pyramids. Can I speak on the detox period or healing crisis that can happen after a treatment that aids in us letting go? Oh, definitely. Okay. So after, like what you're saying, I'll use it in terms of a Reiki session, because that's, you know, my I won't say my expertise, but that's like my thing there. After any type of healing crisis, whether you do it for yourself, or I'm sorry, after any type of healing thing. So let's say it's your own healing of a relationship, or your relation to relationships, or getting a Reiki treatment for, or an energetic cleansing of any kind, or something along the lines of that, where we do have these detox periods. This happens very much after a Reiki attunement as well. So Reiki and Reiki attunements will certainly be things that comes up. And it's basically like, what they say when we're taught it is like, if you picture a glass of water, you know, it's like very clear, but at the bottom, we all have a little sediment, a little dirt, a little ickies going on. And as this fresh energy, this fresh water comes into the cup, it stirs things up. Some of it gets overflowed, some of it gets stirred up, some of it settles back down. So during that process, it's not quite comfortable most of the time. It could be, you know, it certainly could be, but like people could have a realization like, oh, I just remembered this experience, and oh, I just feel so close to my grandmother now, or like whatever, you know, it could be anything. But a lot of times it's like a little dark, you know, a little uncomfortable. And the best thing that I tell people to do is like, make sure you're drinking enough water. If you are Reiki attuned, make sure you continue to do self Reiki every day for the 3-week process following the attunement. But there's really not that much you can do other than, excuse me, coffee burps. Let it come up and don't judge it. Whatever that thing is, whatever the feeling of, it could be two things. It could be this feeling of like this stuff, this sediment, this like stuff you have to deal with comes up. Let it like come into your consciousness, like look at it and find the lesson and thank it and release it with love. So you don't have to push it back down. You don't have to dissect it and pick it apart and be like, oh, but I have to understand this. Like, no, you have to find the lesson and how it served you, so you don't have to keep repeating things. Now, if it is, I kind of lost my train of thought. That's like one way, that's like one thing that happens. Oh, I lost my train of thought. There was like another thing I was going to mention. Rats. I think it's gone. Sorry. But that's like one thing about doing it. And if the other one comes to me, I will definitely mention it, because there's two ways that you can kind of look at it. On astrology books, I don't read a lot of astrology books. I read a lot of astrology blogs. And I studied my own chart as a means of understanding things, or I'll study my own, my friend's charts or something. And it's not too, Sam Geppy said this recently in one of his videos. He does Vedic astrology, and he put this very clearly, and it was like so perfect. It's like, you shouldn't look into your chart so that you can be like, oh, and like this, like a psychoanalysis of yourself. That's not what astrology is really for. It might help you to put language to how you're feeling. So it's not like I would totally advise against it, but don't like put all like, oh, well, I'm a Scorpio, this or that, so that just means that I, you know, I'm unlucky in this, or oh, I'm always gonna have challenges that, because it's not true. That's bullshit. That's not how it's true. But you will see that that's how maybe karma will play out with you. So you might have these experiences with this like Scorpio energy, and then see it being balanced by bringing in something else. So never like attach too much to it. But I would say that I love, you know, Gregory Scott. There's other astrologers. The Body Astrologer is awesome. There is, she goes by Inez Heels, Ines Heels. She's a wonderful astrologer. She does great like full moon and new moon and different like moon cycle readings. She has a great blog. I would highly suggest her. So it's like Inez Heels, I think is how you say it. She's in Canada. I want to say Quebec, but I could be wrong. Okay. Just going back. So true about releasing with love. It helps a lot. When it comes to receiving and seeing synchronicities from your spirit guide sources, do you have anything you can share on establishing a clear dialogue with that guidance? Just practice. Just communicate and build a rapport between you and your guides, you and your higher self, or God itself, or angels, or whatever, like that beyond kind of thing. You can journal is a great way to communicate with something that is beyond you, but in you as well. You know, you're a part of it all as well. On answers rarely provided, understood at the time. So a pendulum would be another great way to like use discernment, or tarot if you're into it, to kind of gain some clarification, or say, hey, I got this message, but I need some clarification. Can you I need more, and like allow for that to happen. If you let any negative thought or feeling consciousness, it will dissolve. If you let any negative thought or feeling consciousness, it will dissolve itself. So yeah, no resistance, and just like don't push it back down. Don't like make it like your thing now that you have to understand. Just like understand the lesson and like thank you. Thank you and goodbye. You know, that kind of thing. All right, I think that's it. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this afternoon, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. I hope that the audio on this was good enough for you guys. I know the visual is not wonderful, so I'm sorry about that. But I need like an adapter to like get my actual camera hooked into all this shebang here. I did, Molly, talk about the 1111 3333 thing earlier in this. So once this has like refreshed itself, I'm gonna post this up. I just want to listen and make sure that the audio is okay, and everyone says that it is, so I don't think that it's gonna be a problem. Hey Alice, I didn't see you there. I don't know if you had a question before. I hope I didn't skip you. Alice is wonderful. Alice is an amazing person. She's so supportive and so sweet, and her energy is gorgeous. We've worked together before. Gorgeous. All right, guys. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and enjoy and read something, meditate, take a moment to yourself for self-discovery. Yeah, Happy New Year. I'm going to be recording the Reiki video that I mentioned. I'm going to be recording the Reiki video that I mentioned earlier in this this conversation. You can call me Lune. My name is Jillian. It doesn't matter. I go by both. There are people who call me Lune, and that's perfectly fine. There are people who call me Jillian. I feel like I say Jillian because I don't want you to think I'm building a wall between us, like by any name. I think as I go further, like I've been going by Lune Innate for about like 3 years now, so I will probably own it a little more. It just feels weird to give yourself a name, you know, or it's strange to play with your own name. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful 2018. My video will be up tomorrow. I really hope that it serves you and that there's something in it that you resonate with, or that resonates with you, and you can kind of take forward and accept into your space and everything. Thank you so much, Lana. I appreciate it so much. You were giving some wonderful advice. I could see there. I was like, oh, there she goes. She's got it. Thank you. Oh, and like Lune Innate, I always get asked where this comes from. It has a few reasons for me. I've, like many of us, I'm very drawn to the moon, and I like that Lune is a little more odd than like Luna or something. Lune Innate sounds like illuminate to me, like they rhyme, like illuminate, luminate, illumination, you know. But also for me, I think of, you know, what it really means is the light within you, this innate thing, like the moon glowing in the sky, this light which is born within you, or it is within you when you're born, and it just kind of like comes out. So yeah, so that's where that comes from. Thanks, guys. All right. Well, have a great time. I'm going to log off now if I can figure out how, because this is so different. All right. Bye, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a very, very, very happy New Year's. I'm not going out. I might do a live stream again for all the people who are like me and just like, no, I'll stay in. Bye.